All right. Hopefully, everyone can hear me. Let me say hello and welcome. I am ecstatic to be here. This is a long time coming. If you don't know, I'm Miss Christine, and you're going to see me, and you'll see Miss Robin, and some other wonderful music teachers and musicians here during our live stream. This is our very first live stream here, and this is something that we've been working towards for a very long time. I see that 2 for 1 is here. Hello and welcome. And, I said to myself, this is something that I wanted to do, and I didn't feel ready, so I'll probably have some bugs because, it's technology. But I needed to say a happy late New Year's to those who watch this on the replay. Thank you. And for those who will join in as we're live streaming now, I welcome you and I thank you. So I'm not going to do a lot of talking because as you'll see, this is going to be an opportunity where we learn music theory, we sing, we learn vocal techniques, we play. This live stream is primarily for our beginner students or students that know a little bit about music, but it's been a little music, or if you just want to come because you love music, everyone is welcome. So that's what this is all about. Let's talk about what we're going to learn today. So today we're going to learn how music actually works from the music staff. So we're going to start with the 5 lines and 4 spaces. This may sound very elementary because it is. This is the very beginning of how you start to read music. So we're going to start with the 5 lines and the 4 spaces. We're going to count those lines and spaces, and then we're going to understand the layout of how you look at the music. We're not going to dive too much on note reading because that's another lesson. And then afterwards, we're going to play a little game to test your knowledge and make sure you know what you're doing. And finally, if you're so inclined to have a little homework, you can visit our school store and get your lesson booklet as well as your worksheet and a little quiz. So that's what we have for you today. I'm not going to do a lot of talking because, again, this is my first time. But so far, I think the live stream is working out okay. You can tell me in the chat if things look okay, if you can hear me clearly. I was having a lot of tech issues. A-okay. Let's see. 2 for 1 in the chat. Can you tell me if the audio and everything is okay? All right, let's see. Okay, well, I believe everything is A-okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started with our lesson. And if you have any questions, please let me know in the chat and let me know where you're streaming. All right, everything sounds good. All right, great, thank you. All right, so without further ado, let's get started with our lesson. Today's lesson is about the grandstaff. Before we dive into the grandstaff, let's talk about music in our culture. Music is written on 5 lines and 4 spaces. This is 5 lines and 4 spaces here below. And the way we count these lines and spaces from the bottom to the top. So this is line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4, and line 5. Those are the 5 lines. And the spaces are here. 1, space 1, space 2, space 3, and space 4. These 5 lines and 4 spaces are what we call the musical staff. Okay? Now, in real music, you would not see numbers written on the staff like here. But I'm only showing you this way so that you can better understand how we count the lines and spaces, as I mentioned before, from the bottom to the top. Now, in the next lesson, I'll show you how to place notes on the staff. But before we get to that point, there's something important we need to do first. I'm going to erase our 5 lines and 4 spaces that we call the musical staff. And what's important is that we have to add a clef at the beginning of the staff. Now, there are 2 common clefs that we're going to talk about in today's lesson. The treble clef, so let's add the treble clef. And the bass clef. Now, a clef is a symbol we place at the beginning of the staff to help us identify the notes. For right now, in today's lesson, that's all you need to know about clefs. We'll talk about specific notes in another lesson. Now, there are many different clefs in music, but the most common, the treble clef and the bass clef. I'll start with the treble clef and show you how to draw it directly on the staff. Now, to draw the treble clef, we want to start with a straight line with a little hook. And we want to take the top part of the line and come right to the 3rd line. Then we're going to continue and draw a little hook right on the 1st line and keep circling until you get to the 2nd line, curving right around the 2nd line. Let's try that again. Let's draw a straight line with the hook. Take that top line and curve it down to about the 3rd line. Swing your pencil around and circle the 3rd line. Now, we call this the treble clef, but the reason why we're circling the 2nd line is because this is the line that's note G, and it's also known as the G clef. Now, we haven't discussed note names yet, but I wanted to mention there's a reason why you want that curve to circle the 2nd line. Let's do a few more. I'll start over here. Okay, we're going to draw our straight line with the hook. Remember, and circle. Okay, now there are several different ways, I'm going to erase this, to draw the treble clef. And you may notice that some people draw their treble clefs a little bit different. There's no right or wrong way, as long as it looks like a treble clef. Don't worry about trying to be perfect. Do the best you can. Now let's draw the 2nd clef, the bass clef. Okay? Now the bass clef is a little easier to draw, but it is just as important. So let's practice drawing the bass clef. We want to start with a little dot here on the 4th line, and there's an important reason why it's on the 4th line. I'll explain in just a moment. And then we want to take our pen or pencil, preferably a pencil if you're doing this with me, and then take your pencil and do a nice curve just past the 2nd line. And then you want to put your 2 dots on either side of the 4th line. Think of it like you're splitting the 4th line with the 2 dots. Let's practice drawing a few more. Here's our dot. We're going to take our pen or pencil and curve just past the 2nd line and then add our dots. Good. Let's do another one. Add your dot on the 4th line, do a nice little half curve. You can think of it maybe like a half of a heart, and add your dots. Now, this is called the bass clef, and these two dots that are splitting the fourth line is not just splitting the fourth line just because, hey, split the fourth line. No, there is a significant reason, and the two dots are representing what we call the F line, this line here. This fourth line, once we talk about notes, you will understand that the fourth line in the bass clef is the F note, and the bass clef has two names. It has the bass clef and the F clef, okay? So that's why you want to make sure you put the two dots splitting the fourth line, not the third, not the fifth, not the second or the first, but the fourth line. All right. Now you can visit our school store and download for free a piece of manuscript. Let's show you. So here at our music store, just come right here and download a blank manuscript, and you can practice drawing the treble clef, the bass clef, and have some fun. The more you practice, the better you'll get at. Now I have one more thing to show you, and this is why today's lesson is called the grandstaff. So let's erase some of our bass clefs, and hopefully you downloaded the free manuscript and had some time to practice. If not, be sure to do that. I'm actually going to move this bass clef right at the beginning of our staff. Remember, clefs, whether a treble clef or a bass clef, is always placed at the beginning of the staff. And I was just working in the middle so that we could practice drawing. But it's important that I move my clefs. So let's do that. We're going to start with the treble clef. We're going to put our treble clef here. And we're going to add our bass clef here. Okay, now the reason why we call today's lesson the grandstaff is because we have to connect the treble clef and the bass clef to make it a grandstaff. But how do we do that? We have to add a straight line, and then we also add a curved line, which we call a brace. And so now the treble clef and the bass clef are connected to create the grand staff. Okay? And I'll show you what it looks like when it's printed. Okay, so here is a printed grand staff, and you can see the arrow is showing us that this is a brace. So you have the straight line, and then you have this brace connecting the treble clef and the bass clef to create the grand staff. And of course, there's some added notes here, which we'll talk about in our next lesson. But for right now, you can see what it looks like when it's printed. And then you can also see what it looks like with no notes. Here on my whiteboard, you can see we have the bass clef and the treble clef connected by a straight line, our brace, to create the grand staff. So there you have it. In this lesson, you learned that music is written on a staff with 5 lines. Remember? 5 lines in 4 spaces. We count from the bottom to the top, line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4, and line 5. Those are our 5 lines, and space 1, space 2, space 3, and space 4. You also learned today how to draw a treble clef. You start with your straight line with your little hook. Start back at the top. Bring your line over and give a nice little curve around that second line. And you also learned how to draw the bass clef, starting on the 4th line with your dot, giving your half curve line here, like a half a heart, and splitting the 4th line with the 2 dots. You also learned that when you take a treble staff and a bass staff and join them together with a line and the brace, we create the grandstaff. If you feel confident with everything in today's lesson, you can download the lesson booklet for free at our music school. And if you want a real good challenge, you can also purchase for a few bucks the worksheet and the quiz to test your knowledge today. That's all for today, and I'll see you in the next lesson. All right. Excuse me. So, what did you learn? Now we're going to make sure you really lock it in. So we're going to play a quick little game and make sure that you understand how to count those lines and spaces so that when you download the worksheet or the quiz or whatever, you know how to read those lines and spaces. And remember, we count from the bottom to the top. So let's see if I can bring my whiteboard over. All right, we're going to just start right here on the bass clef staff. No particular reason, just because it's here in front of me. And your job is to tell me, is this particular circle, we don't worry about notes because we didn't talk about notes yet in this lesson, but your job is to tell me, is the note on line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4, line 5, or space 1, 2, 3, or 4. That's your job, and you have to put that in the chat, okay? So let's see. Oh, look at Mobile Music for Kids is here. Okay, hello, Mobile Music. Hopefully, Mobile Music will be doing some live stream or more videos to come. That's our kid channel. So let's have some fun here. So here is my circle, and your job is to tell me, is this on line 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5? I'll give you a few seconds. Let me see if we have some few second music. Okay, let's see if you can tell me. Is it on line 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5? You tell me. Okay, somebody put it in the chat. Let's see. 2 for 1. Can you put that in the chat? Is it line 1, line 2, or line 3? 4 or 5, you tell me. Okay. Okay, good, good, good. So this is line 2, okay? Hopefully you can see that. Line 2. So if you put line 2, good job. All right. We're going to do a few more because I think this is very, very easy. But you know what? I don't take anything for granted. I really want you to know this stuff solid. All right, question number 2. Is this on space 1, space 2, or space 3? Let's see if we can find some jumping music. Here we go. Let's see. Where is it? So you put in your answer in the chat for me, please. Okay. All right, here we go. I have a little timer. All right, put it in the chat. Good job, 2 for 1. With your last answer. Okay. Okay, somebody said space 4, mobile music. Great job. All right. Somebody else. Okay. All right, that's our time. Okay, all right. So if you said space 4, you are correct. Remember, we count from the bottom to the top. All right, we're going to do two more, and that's it. All right, here we go. All right, thank you, 2 for 1. You got number 4. I appreciate you coming in. All right, here's our next question. What line number is this note? Okay, here we go. Let's see. Put your answer in the chat. Any prizes? Not yet. We're still a growing small school, but we do welcome donations. No prizes yet, but hopefully. All right. Is it what line number? Okay. All right. Okay, hopefully you like our dramatic music. Okay, so any answers? Mobile music, 2 for 1. While you're watching the replay, you can put your answer in the chat. Yes, this is line 5. Remember, we count from the bottom to the top. All right, this is our last question. All right, this is our last question, and I'm actually going to put 2 notes. So let's see. Here we go. Yes, you get a free booklet. Okay, so the first question, well, it's 2 questions in one. So you have to tell me, is it on the what number, space or line? Okay, so space 1, 2, 3, 4, or line 1 through 5. Here we go. Okay, so this is tricky because I have a circle in the bass clef and a circle in the treble clef. I'm not going to talk about notes because we didn't talk about notes today. We'll be talking about notes very, very soon. Here we go, and go. Put my timer up. All right. If you're watching the replay, be sure to put your answer in the chat. Okay. So I should get 2 answers. All right, come on. I think you know what to do. Okay, all right. So let's see. Okay, so I see the bass clef is line 4. That is correct. This is line 1, line 2, line 3, and this is our 4th, excuse me, our 4th line. Treble clef. This is space 1, space 2, space 3, and space 4. All right, yes, the same. Good job. Let me give you a Yahoo. All right. Well, I didn't get to the Yahoo, but that's okay. Where's my Yahoo? You're absolutely correct. Anyway, thank you so very much for joining me today. I appreciate everyone. 2 for 1, mobile music for kids. Thank you for tuning in. Those of you who are going to watch the replay, thank you in advance. Be sure to come back. I really appreciate this. This is my first time, so I think I'm going to get better and better and better. And hopefully we can grow and learn more music. I believe the world needs that, and no better time than to start the new year. So have a wonderful day. Be sure to visit our school store. And if you find that you're having any problems, make sure you send me a message in the chat, and I'll make sure that you get all the freebies and a couple of things not so free, but you will find they're very, very affordable. All right, if you have any questions, I'll give a few seconds to see if you have any questions before we close our live stream. Any questions? More, 2 for 1. Yes, we're going to bring more exciting, fun, learning music, Arts education, everything arts education. Any questions? Yes, okay. What's your question? Okay. You asked the question earlier. What was your question? Excuse me. About the free worksheets? Okay, let's see. I'm not sure what the question was. I'll give you a few seconds. Yes, the grandstaff is made up of two staves. So you have the treble clef and the bass clef. Yes, that's an excellent question. And if I didn't make that very clear, yes. And the reason why it's called a grand staff, it is because it's joined by that brace that connects it to make them a grand staff. So you have the treble clef and the bass clef. And musicians like piano players and other musicians read from this clef. And so you're reading from the treble clef as well as the bass clef. Thank you for that question. Any other questions? Last call. So while I'm waiting for more questions, let me just go ahead and talk about if you find our channel very useful, please visit our school where you can book a free trial lesson. We have a few slots available, and we welcome any student that would like to take their music education to the next level. You can visit our school. Okay, so mobile music, they are locked together like a marriage. Well, I never looked at it quite that way, like a marriage, but they work very well together. There's truly, harmony, if you want to say, between the treble clef and the bass clef. Ba-dum-bump. All right. Thank you. Thank you for that. All right. Without anything else, I want to say thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next live stream. Have a wonderful day, and make sure you keep music in your heart.